Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Dungeon Donuts, episode 16. And I thought of Dungeon Donuts like 15 seconds ago and decided immediately that it was what I had to say here in the intro, and then probably also is going to be what I have to draw, because it has to be. Last time on Dungeon Donuts, our characters kind of needed a break after this big climactic battle and the loss and failure of it. We took a break for us by turning away from the characters, but the characters themselves are still sort of stuck in it. They've still been running and pushing and running and pushing, and now they're trapped, now they're stuck, and now they have nowhere to go. And we had to return to basics. We had to get a grasp on the situation, and that kind of first meant getting a grasp on ourselves and our internal conflicts and our needs. Our need fundamentally for food, which of course Senshi is the one who notices and pushes for. And we end the episode with a nice, serious meal and a little bit of a joke that's not so serious, but our characters are fed again. They're back to par, maybe. And maybe all of that wandering and sort of freaking out over not being able to get out of this castle town is going to have a way open within it just because we're not hungry and not as frantic as we were. Not that we displayed like franticness, but do you get what I mean? I think that in the umbrella of our story, a necessary component of solving the next puzzle, moving on past this next hurdle, is actually for our characters to be well internally, to be like okay, and to be in internal homeostasis, at least on the level of having eaten some food. So that's what we did. We found some dryad buds, we cooked some dope stuff, and then we got attacked by a bigger, badder basilisk, which is a cockatrice. And it was awesome. It was cool. But it was also a very familiar feeling episode of Dungeon Meshi. One that didn't push boundaries, but instead returned to within the safety of the boundaries, you know what I mean? The safety of the space where we're adventuring forward, discovering new monsters, killing them, and eating them. But doing so in a way that's sort of coherent with the ecosystem that they're a part of, that pays attention to the whole thing, that's aware and sort of taking this stewardship perspective that we've talked about a couple of times, while also taking the perspective of, we got to eat to survive, we got to do something, and it's best if we make it awesome, if we make it a cool meal. And so they did, and it was a cool meal, and it was lots of fun. And I think that's probably where we're going to turn to drawing a dungeon donut. So I'm gonna draw a dungeon donut. Just put the top of the hole, bottom of the hole, frosting. That's all frosted. I leave these lines in there probably, but I probably want to pull. Okay, I want to pull the frosting back here. And then I think that gives me room. It's weird. Okay, and then I want to go way back. Okay. I think I'm gonna color it. Let me get a test paper. Get my colors down. Throw in a blue, and I think this pink is that's probably more like it. I don't really have like a chocolatey brown, so I think I'm gonna go with like a pink style icing frosting situation, and I'm probably gonna use this pink with this for highlights or accents or something. Maybe this one for the most of it, and then this for shadows. I think I'm gonna do all the gems first. Probably erasing some of the darkness around them after would be good. Okay. What do you think the color of this donut is? It might be this one and this one. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna do the edge parts first and the shadows and stuff. blue like they are in the thing. Yay! It's a dungeon donut. It's gonna eat you. Okay, so I just stole different pieces from the dungeon. I stole the gem things from the gem place, and I stole the face guy from the pumpkins, and just smooshed them together into a donut. And now it's cute and it exists. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Like, it actually looks like a graphic that you might find somewhere that, like, feels mildly professional almost, and kind of good. Is this good? Oh, it's so weird feeling because like so many of the pieces of it are just dumb lines put on top of other dumb lines, and like colors smushed onto other ones kind of mechanically. Kind of like, okay, there's a gem here, and so there will be a little bit of an outline of the darker pink around it, and that's just the way it is. But when I was doing that, I wasn't like, and this is definitely gonna work. This is gonna make sense and look like ripples in the frosting, which is what I hoped that it would do. Then it just, once it's all together, it kind of does it. It kind of actually looks like what I wanted it to look like. I feel weird. I feel weird about that. It feels very strange. I'm so used to trying for something and coming out with something completely different and having to kind of reconcile that and do the sort of like, well, this wasn't what I was going for, but it's kind of cool and it's part of the process. But no, this just is what I was going for. This is what I wanted it to look like. The gem pieces, like on camera at least, with the couple of colors and a little bit of white that I left in some of them, they actually look kind of crystalline in the way that when we had the crystals episode, I was like, I could never draw that. I kind of can. Just a little bit. It's not quite there. There's still some craziness with the lights all coming together and the way that colors work in that whole crystal sequence. But like, step one, one step into the unknown. Hi, little donut guy. He's a guy now. He exists. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by having created something and actually being proud of it. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching me do this. Let me set it up and, I set out to draw a dungeon donut, and I full drew a dungeon donut. I have no desire to do it again, or like redraw it, or fix a mistake, or go back and change. I just did it. It feels very strange. I think I prefer not being able to do it. I think I prefer the sort of happy-go-lucky space of like, who knows? I don't know. Now that I've actually accomplished something, I feel like there's pressure on it. It's like, now it's got to be good. Now you can't fuck up. That's some bullshit. I should do something really bad just to wash that out of my mind. Huh. Okay, I'm still quite a bit rocked by something that really shouldn't rock me, I think. So I'm just gonna take a minute to let that settle. Yeah, okay, I'll be all right. I just needed a few seconds of metal in my brain, and then I'll survive. So let's head into episode 16 of Dungeon Meshi and see what happens to our party next. I keep expecting that all of our parties are going to collide and we're going to get some collaboration here, but it keeps not happening, so maybe I'll just see what happens in the episode and not predict things and just see what happens. We still got to get out of the castle city. Shuro and squad are still heading down. Kabru and squad, did they head back? No, they're heading down with Shuro and team as well. So there's still ample room for collisions. Just got to figure out the Castletown situation, I guess. Now that we've got food in our bellies, I think we might actually have a chance at doing that. Let's watch episode 16 and find out. Beep beep timer for there'll be 2 versions, picture in picture in the description, timer on YouTube. Beep beep timer to count you down for episode 16 of Dungeon Meshi. Let's watch it. Beep beep timer. I just noticed the fist mark on the top of it. Happy elf. Castle City. You were doing something useful? Nice. Okay. Okay. Oh. So we figured out a way to navigate a little bit. Oh, but it's been cleaned, hasn't it? I'm guessing it's been cleaned. Oh, I'm maybe not. Too late. It's something different. It's something different. Oh. Oh, a hint. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh. Hi. Oh. Okay. The what? The magician's eyes? Beholders? Watchers? Gazers? I don't know. Wait. What? My guy's a paladin. Dude, he's seeing ghosts. He's got whatever Fallen has. He's seeing ghosts. As though they're real people. I think. Oh, the flappy flappies. The bird dragons. Fuck. Blood dragons. Oh. What? Hello, Blood Drake. Oh yeah, it's healing. It's healing. Was it magic or did she just realize something about the walls? That they're made of goop and reforming? Goops? Still made of goop. Can we eat them? Whoa. It's like gray goo. Oh yeah, they're microorganisms. Can we eat them? Will they clean your insides? They're not monsters. Hmm. I love them. It's so weird. They're like ants. And they excrete goop to put it back in. Incredible. 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 Yeah, it's like an immune system. We had immune system stuff last episode too. So are they? That's what the dungeon is. No, the dungeon eats adventurers. You're being digested by the dungeon right now. That's what this is, step by step. Yeah, if you want to know what the dungeon's digestive system is, it's the dungeon. And it has an opening that you walk through of your own volition toward the anglerfish of treasure, dangle dangle, and it goes, ow, and then it consumes you. Or maybe it consumes your adventurous spirit. Wow, they made it the fuck out? Let's make a meal. Let's make a meal. They're gonna eat dungeon cleaners? Well, that's the new music. Oh, those preparations. Oh, not what she meant. She did not know what they meant. No. Yeah, you've got a veritable hall. Are okay. Smart. Okay. Okay, we got fried rice, kind of. Mugi Meshi. Oh, okay. Nice. Because it's made of goop? Whoa, it looks soupy. Whoa, it almost looks like chili sauce. Oh, it's like an oyakodon, but instead of... Oh, chicken and egg. Would they have used me? Oh, the dish is edible too? He made them out of the bricks of the thing? You can eat them. I want plates. I want plates. I prefer plates. You ever seen We Want Plates? Oh, I love it. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, some things maybe we don't want to eat. Yeah, I wonder what's up with those. The squad has found us! That's a spirit. Oh. Oh, shit. What is the spider thing? Wait, did they think they were monsters? Oh, it must be her. What? Please don't. Hi, Shuro. These are my homies. Okay, we get a collision. What is the giant spider? Is that a summon? Gonna cut you free. Thanks, bro. Hmm. Doing well. They just have his name wrong? Oh. Oh, hi, Copru and team. Everybody's here. Oh shit, he's gonna confront him. The song's a little bit performative. It's alright, it's alright. Huh. Huh. Cob I'm hoping Cobru's wise enough to observe. Our best. Oh right, we took their treasure. But the treasure was the bugs, right? Copper's obsession with adventurers continues, as far as I'm seeing it. And guides him in the right direction, I think. Sokka. Oh. You playa. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. To leave the party, gather your retainers, and go. Because they're quite skilled, yeah. They did. Where's Fallen? Oh, shit, man. He's been pushing himself so hard to get down here. No, not until I've saved. No, I don't care about my body. A man's strength. Let's make him a meal. Cook this dude a food. Oh, no time for rest. Only pain. Wow. That is a stunning framing. It's literally the fuel to allow you to do what you want. Aww. So do we get to see another squad cooking? Aye. What? We don't trust her? That's fucked up. The waffle. Hmm. I thought he was just talking about cooking stuff. guy! Sure. Rin does not like her. No, let me catch you up. Brutal. Who's gonna be the most embarrassing? Wow, okay, there are so many microdynamics in play with the way that all these characters feel about each other. We've been diving down deeper and eating monsters. There's more to we lost her, though. Yeah, Kabru. That is the assumption that we're running under, given the lore that we have. That's not him. That's not who we saw, at least. Well, he acted and sounded like a powerful magician who was a lunatic. Did Fallen mention me? Music's weird. Everybody else find this off-putting to the extreme? Guess not. Oh, let's go! Alright, Kabru, let's fucking go. Please tell me about your special interest. Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. It's gotta be the meat, yeah! Now, let me tell you. What? Huh? Motherfucking cleaners. He's getting a beat on who Laios is. Nah, dog, it's way different. Homie orcs. That's a great assumption, Kabru. Kyoryoku. Yeah, we find where our lines are. Well, we kind of used black magic and also dragon parts to revive her body. And now she might be under control of the lunatic. Is she gonna spy? The dark truth. So, we used some black magic. I love that these two are gonna get to see each other. I feel like they should date. The Waff. Oh, she's an elder of the Kunoichi. Okay, that makes sense. During missions. Ah! Or were they just washing rice? Ah. You can't get love into the preservation process. I was waiting for it to be a joke and be like, it was garlic powder. No, it's love, dude. You're putting love in the dishes. It's hard to get it into the field ration pellets, you know? Hmm. So silly. Oh, wow. It is a perfect. To me, that reads as breakfast, but it's like, what a perfect meal. Clickety, 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 clickety. We've been banished. Is it gonna be brutal? Yeah, shit. Oh, no, the food. Oh, nice catch, G. You fucking stupid. She was listening the whole time. You cat-eared fuck. That is correct. What else could we do? No. According to whom? Oh. Dude, you should not have told Shuro. Yeah, but now 4 fucking people know around that? I mean, 2 of them are Shuro's retainers, so that's fine. I don't know. I don't think so. One did Fallen back. Oh! Oh, how terrible! With a big smile. Yeah. Is that Fallen? She's here? Fuck, man. What is her lower body? She's got the dragon eyes. Oh. Oh, wow. I didn't think we were going to get a reveal of that. She's been transformed into partial and partial, half and half. Whoa. How horrible. Oh man, I'm reminded so deeply of something from a book series, and I can't remember what it is. I'm not gonna spend effort on like, but maybe, no, I'm reminded of Made in Abyss. I'm reminded of a couple of things from Made in Abyss. That's what I'm reminded of. The warped in and connected to partially a monster and having your own mind reforged by that reminds me of some of the elements of Made in Abyss. Whoa. And now we know that what that is, right? I've been wondering the whole time, what is this bird with the dragon parts and the bird pieces? Like, is it related to the cockatrice, or... But it fits with the wings on the book and stuff. Fuck. That reveal at the very end here. I want to go through and, like, I think there are 3 stages to it. So the first stage is that we see her in part, right? And there's a change to her down here. The texture changes because it's becoming the feathers in this corner, I think. And then she does we see that she's partial. She's, like, broken, and there's a sound. There's, like, a particular... Yeah, there's this looming, like, bassy movement of something big and bulky shifting under the background of the dripping and the hands on stone. And so that's a layer of the reveal. It's like there's something more. I thought that was the whole reveal that we were gonna get. But we showed the whole fucking thing. Whoa. Talk about a chicken with its head cut off. Holy shit. With that as a strong exception, the rest of the episode is very lighthearted and pretty fun and pretty cool. We get a bunch of things that I kind of had given up on. The collision that hadn't happened before really happens now. And I think my favorite part about that collision and about this episode is all of the microdynamics that come into play. It feels to me like every character, with the exception of some of the, like, more truly background characters, like the priest guy in Kabru's squad, doesn't have a particular emotional, like, strong dynamic emotional perspective to the rest of the people in this team, but Rin fucking does, and Kabru absolutely does, and everybody else in Kabru's party has this expectation that Kabru's going to do something in regard to Laios. Like, they've already talked about how they feel about this. Now what are you going to do? And that brews up some dynamics. But then you've got all the dynamics of all the characters thinking about each other and looking at each other and observing each other and not being sure of each other. And it makes for, like, the combinatorial complexity of a true group dynamic, because that's real shit. You smash a bunch of friends groups together, and people like bounce off each other and don't like each other and get weird perspectives on each other and make assumptions about who that person is because of where they are in the other group, even though they don't really have an accurate perspective on that. And the whole thing just expands dramatically. That's the feeling of it, is an expansion dramatically of our point of view. Which makes perfect sense, because we're folding a bunch of new points of view in. Like, a bunch of new people have entered the fray, and they all bring their own perspectives under the umbrellas of their individual parties. And I think it's really freaking cool. I think it's neat. So I think that's my highlight for the episode. Except with the exception of there's one line that we say, I think, to Shuro, that is only after they have eaten and had their fill can creatures do what they want. And I want to go find that eventually and hone in on it and sort of focus on it as an obvious but perspective shifting kind of thing, because it reorients the cart and the horse, you know? If we're putting the cart before the horse, this resets them, it reorients them. It says, no, actually fuel first and then we go and do the thing. And I really like it. It's one of those sort of simple and innocent phrases that hits with the weight of a simple and innocent club, and it's like it bonks you over the head real good. It's like, oh, that was simple and innocent, and yet it's got the power in that simplicity to, like, change your perspective completely. It's much harder to change your perspective with a complicated argument than it is with a very simple argument, a very simple statement of something like this, which just doesn't leave room for the other direction, right? It's just like, this is actually the way of things. You eat and then your body can move. And if you keep moving your body without eating, it's not going to keep working. It's just going to stop like a car running out of gas. Ah. But you all... All right, Chilchuck showing his prowess, figuring out what's really going on with the dungeon is really cool, and giving us sort of the idea of the ability to map this place. This is where we ate the dragon and lost Fallen. I don't want them to get worked up. A hole in the stone. But everything has been cleaned. Okay. I love this. I love dungeons that have maintenance built into them. I've been thinking about it a lot because of the dungeon that I'm building session by session that my characters are going through, which was left by heroes of a bygone age as like a proving grounds and a tomb and a like an archive for their knowledge, but a proving ground for prophesied heroes of a future age, which are probably the party members who are going through this dungeon right now, just to make it make sense. So they left this dungeon as like a self-contained place. So any creatures within it have to be either undead or like part of an ecosystem that will go ongoing for thousands of years, so that the dungeon itself can be a time capsule. And one of the pieces that has to be explained is like what happens if stuff gets destroyed or broken, or if like people make it halfway into the dungeon, and like what happens to their bodies, what happens to dead monsters, what happens to all of those things. And so I went with the classic, which is slimes, goops. You get some good metal and bone dissolving slimes, get some gray oozes, and you put some like holes in the floors of all of the rooms in the dungeon, and you just let the oozes go through and let them eat anything that gets cast around. But that doesn't fix things. It doesn't fix broken stuff. Doing that is much more complicated, much more difficult. Could take like an ant colony, like a colony of semi-intelligent, magically oriented organisms to go and do the thing as if by instinct as part of a broader situation. So I think that this, as an idea, is really freaking cool. It's a classic dungeon thing to have cleaners, things that clean up the dungeon, and for those to be monsters as well. But for them to be almost microorganisms, to be like almost ant-like little goops that go and do this, and then to have a like a biomechanical explanation that reads as working and making sense to me. They eat the stuff, they break it down with magic enzymes, they poop it out, and it reforges with magic enzymes into exactly whatever formulation it's supposed to be within the dungeon. I think it's awesome. I think it's really fucking cool. This, though, I don't have an explanation for yet. They don't look like they do when we've seen Fallen see them. It's as though your boy Laios has his own, somewhat different connection to the spirits. I wonder if he's on the order of, like, what in formalized terms we might call, like, a paladin, you know? Someone with some divine or spiritual kind of magic, and also a warrior. Seems like those lines, like class archetype lines, are something that you can learn whatever you want to learn and are capable of learning. It's not like you're locked into being a fighter and only a fighter forever. So I think that's really cool. I think it's very, very neat. I really like the idea that Laios can gain some magic, that he can straddle the divide and be both a magic user, partly because that makes him more capable of understanding the dungeon in particular, and maybe taking over its power. Who knows? But he sees a scary guy. The scary guy gives him a warning, which is very nice of him, and nobody else sees it. I think it's mana sickness. I don't think so, man. I think you have been changed forever. I think you've awakened something that's maybe a part of who you are, and maybe it's a part of who Fallen is, but she's got more of it, and so it, awakened within her much sooner. But it seems like Laios is going to be able to use some magic. Awesome. Little dragon! Where are we gonna hide? Inside the wall! This is such a crazy reveal. It's so cool. The walls are goop. Why? Because they haven't set yet. They're still made of poop. Poop goop. What kind of magic? No, it's cleaners. Cleaners. The whole set of explanations for cleaners is amazing. The visualization of them being these little anthills, the fact that they like reform their little patterns, their walking patterns after being brushed away is so cool and interesting. The whole idea is another to put on the stack of this is my favorite idea ever for dungeoneering, and it came from Dungeon Meshi. I've got a big stack of those now, and it's like, oh, treasure bugs. Perfect. The best idea that I've ever heard, and it came from Dungeon Meshi, right? Like, there are so many. This is one of them. It's really good. I like it. The idea that they act like the immune system clearing out germs. And what are you calling germs? Anything that doesn't fit. And what does Senshi say? Is that also magic at work? And her answer is pretty cool, huh? Yeah, it is cool. Magic at work. Magic that, like, determines what a core piece of the ecosystem does. A magical creature. Ah, it's so cool. It's so cool. What's next? A magical digestive system. I wonder what the dungeon would eat in that case. Ha, ha, ha. Let's be serious about this. Let's be serious about this, because I said it when it happened, but I want to hone back in on this. What do dungeons eat? If we metaphoricalize and anthropomorphize a dungeon to being a creature that consumes things, what comes out of the dungeon? Monsters, if it's left to be. What does the dungeon eat? Adventurers. Adventurers. Yeah. That's what it lures in, what everything around it is designed to funnel into it, and what it consumes. Adventurers. Yeah. Why? Maybe there's some spirit that they bring. Maybe they bring their own kind of magic. Maybe the dungeon feeds off of that. Maybe it doesn't need to feed. Maybe it's just consuming, and that's what makes it broken. There's a system that I really like some pieces of called 13th Age. It's a tabletop role-playing game system. And I think 13th Age 2 is coming out soon, or came out recently, but talking about 13th Age 1. It's a cool system, and the reason that I found it is because within it, there is an adventure written, or campaign situation setting, called The Eyes of the Stone Thief. And in the world of 13th Age, the Eyes of the Stone Thief is the biggest dungeon. And the Eyes of the Stone Thief are a bunch of these crazy artifacts that are literally the eyes of that dungeon. Because in the world of 13th Age, dungeons are conscious creatures. They're monsters themselves. And they're like, you know the scene in Inception where the whole city is like refolding itself and shit? That's what a dungeon is. A dungeon is the force that's doing that, and it covers like a bubble of space, and it moves all that shit, reforging itself and rebuilding itself into whatever configuration it thinks is best to get its favorite prey, which is people, adventurers, or cities, stone, stuff to build itself out of, right? So the Stone Thief is called the Stone Thief because every year or so, it'll just pop up and eat a village. Just consume all the stone, all the people, all the buildings, all the raw materials of this village, or town, city, castle, keep, whatever. It'll find a thing and it'll just eat it. And that's the whole campaign. That's like the whole situation is there's this dungeon, it tunnels around and it appears in various places to destroy them. And it's built out in so many ways so that your characters can have like an ongoing feud with this thing. Like you can set it up so that their childhood home was destroyed by the Stone Thief, and now they're questing after this damn thing to get deep into it and kill it eventually, right? And prevent other people from dying from it, or whatever, whatever plot hook ends up working. But that idea of like this dungeon is conscious, and then what that allows you to do when you're DMing, when you're creating, to create a space that's actually actively antagonistic to the party and moves in response to them and does things in response to them, puts traps in their way in order to like stymie them, puts treasure in their way in order to keep them coming further. It lets you and the dungeon be much more aligned than you would be if you're pretending to be separate from it, right? But in truth, when you're DMing, you are the dungeon in some ways. And so having the dungeon be a living, breathing thing that moves and changes and shifts in active, conscious, diegetic, in-world response to the party gives you a way to do that directly without just pretending like that's not what you're doing and then the things just happen to line up in interesting ways. I think it's really fucking cool to have a dungeon that eats and moves and thinks And I wonder how conscious, given how complex it is, how conscious this dungeon really is. Is it just the mage, or whoever the little elf guy is? Is it just that imbuing consciousness into the space? Or does it have almost a consciousness of its own, emergent out of all the needs and wants and desires of the whole ecosystem? Does it think? Okay. So this is sort of in the way that people sometimes conceptualize Gaia or Earth as a thinking entity. You know, our brains think in many ways by like release of neurotransmitters across junctions and like firing of neurons here that fire to over here. So if it's all just connections and it's all things happening in response to another thing, is pollen being released from one tree and collected by another? Is that neurotransmitters being released through the air of our globe? Are the root systems of the aspens and the trees and stuff, are those connected? Are they firing signals between each other? And on some level there is an exchange of information through those sorts of systems. And so on some level you could say, with the dramatic complexity of the whole of the globe, maybe the whole thing is calculating, maybe the whole thing is thinking, and it's just so big and so different that there's no way to determine what it might be thinking about. You know, it might be thinking about the fundamental question of life, the universe, and everything, you know, and that might not be very relevant to our experience. So then, under that kind of paradigm of like, ooh, big complicated things have a sense of feeling or thinking. They react, they respond, they do things, they act. Is the dungeon one? Is the dungeon itself, from some perspective or from some angle, a conscious living thing, a big creature that's really a colony of many different types of little creatures all living together? Could be. Could be. The fact that we sort of foreshadow it and kind of lampshade in our characters are like, haha, that would be so crazy, weird, makes me think that it's definitely what's going on here. I don't know. A way out! All right, time to prepare. She thinks she knows what they mean. It's time to prepare. Hey, wait. I love the joke. They're like, hey, you actually like that suit, don't you? No. No. Gotta love a solid dungeon Meshi cooking scene. It's weird to do it with the bricks, but I love the sort of chicken and egg oyakodon bowl situation, because we've got the cockatrice meat and then we've got the egg sauce. So it's like, it's truly an oyakodon, chicken and egg, or yeah, chicken and egg, mother and child rice bowl. Boom. Beautiful. And bricks made of dirt. Dirt tasting, dirt smelling, dirt bricks. Not good. Blech. And then we pull slowly out and reveal that the other party is watching them. I love it. I love it. I think it's such a cool way to do the collision. And the group who goes and finds them doesn't recognize them. So they assume that they are monsters because of the frog skin and the and the horns. Holy fuck. What a weird creature. Okay, you know what? Now that I look at it, it's like completely Japanese styled and everything. It's as though it just leapt off of a scroll painting. Fucking awesome. Are you guys seeing this? Hey, wait a second. And Shuro's here. Good. But he's as glum as ever. Ugh. So we all call him Shuro, but that's not his name. We just can't say his name properly. His name is Toshiro. Brutal. That sucks. Hey, Kabru, is that... We start making these connections across the characters. I really like it. And Kabru's got fire in his eyes when he approaches. You're Laios, aren't you? Hi, Laios-san. Nice to meet you. He's observing, but not being overbearing, not being antagonistic directly, right? Kabru's really shows some wisdom here, and I think it's not the first time, but we've been building up to this moment to like, what is Kabru going to do when he actually approaches these guys? He's going to watch is what he's going to do. he is going to Griffith from the sidelines and watch. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Rin is different, right? Like, she has a different perspective. She's a little bit more antsy and a little bit more active. Like, she wants to take action on it. She wants to fight. She doesn't like them. They stole our stuff. What are we going to do? We're going to do something about it, right? What? We're not going to do anything about it. Well, the point was to meet them. Probably directly asking them won't help. And he didn't go like, oh, shit. There was no like, oh, fuck, I've been caught. So maybe he doesn't remember, or maybe we've made a mistake and we don't understand things as well as we think we do. The cat just meowed. One sec. It's another example of Kabru's logic and wisdom and willingness to, like, wait and watch really being helpful here. Maybe the treasure was a trap. Maybe we're mistaken. Who knows? Maybe it's all of the above. So let's not be hasty. Give me a bit more time. Don't you want to find out how they managed to get here? Isn't there's something we can learn here, and we're not going to learn it if we come in acting out our assumptions. I think this is a really powerful attitude. It's something that I've definitely done and regretted, is act in a connection that I'm not certain of off of the assumptions that I have about that connection instead of waiting and letting it brew into whatever it's going to be. I know there are lots of like ass out of you and me type of simplistic statements around that. And we've been sort of talking about this idea of like making assumptions of about what people believe and then acting for them in the context of Dan, because Okarun, one of the core characters there, has this really strong, maybe his core tendency is to like believe that he has a complete grasp on a situation and how people feel emotionally, and then he acts in accordance with that. So, for example, the character that he's friends and sort of romantically entangled with comes in contact with like her first boyfriend, like childhood crush, right? And our main character's perspective is, oh, he's probably going to be way better for her. They've already got this connection. I'm going to leave. I'm going to remove myself from the circumstance, right? He assumes that he understands what's going on. And based on that complete and no room for a change to that understanding, he knows exactly what he has to do in response and believes that's what everybody else would want him to do in response. And then he acts it out and removes himself from the group, distances himself, breaks down part of the friendship, and causes all these internal problems that our characters have to reconcile over the course of the thing. But you don't have to engage that way, right? You can actually just go, okay, I've heard all these things about this person, and I can't remove those from my brain. I already have my understanding has been soiled or been altered by these things. And that means that if I go and I try to interact with them with those as my sole basis, I am inevitably going to treat them as somebody that they're not. So let me spend some time and observe and confirm. At least I'll be able to confirm that what I believed about them is true or not. Or maybe I'll get the impression off paper, because like on paper, things are really stark and crystal clear. Laios did XYZ. And then from that, if that fits into my interpretation of reality morally in a bad way, Laios is bad. Obvious, simple, straightforward. But the context and the complexity is not on paper. It's in the person. And there's like vibes and gut feelings and intentions and the circumstances that surrounded them and the parts of the context that you didn't understand. What if we don't approach them as though we already know them, and instead we watch? We would just watch. The first thing is to come up and say, "Hey, I'm Kabru," right? And that's the first test, kind of. It's like if Laios acts guilty, or even really strongly recognizes him, now we have some information. If he doesn't, now we have some information. It's information that's contradicting what we had before, and that's maybe the best, most useful. So, some real wisdom from Kabru, again. Not acting too soon, thinking things through, but we also know that Kabru has the absolute capacity to act when necessary. And I have the serious belief that if Kabru comes to the understanding that Laios or party are a threat to Kabru or Kabru's party, Kabru will pull the blade, like, immediately and will attack, like, no hesitation. So, that mini dynamic is dangerous and fraught with a lot of problems. It's the choice, the conscious choice of Kabru, of the people involved, to pull back from violence, to pull back from action toward observation, communication, thinking that allows us to actually do that and creates peace. I really like it. I think it's freaking cool. Maybe we're wrong. Let's find out. Don't you want to find out how they got here and where they're going to go? So we explain back and forth that, yeah, we've both seen how this level works. You lech! No, they're all retainers. I'm sorry for leaving. And we find out that Shuro's leaving wasn't like a I give up. It was, I actually have a party that I need to go get, and we're going to go down. But of course, he didn't communicate that with anybody. I thought this was the best way, and he did. He thought it was the best way. Wasn't it a little rash? What would you have done if somebody got hurt? Yeah, we don't really have an answer to that. I want to be clear. Our answer to that is not an answer to that. It's we're actually good enough. But what would you have done if somebody got hurt again? Right? Like Marcel got hurt a couple times, and we were able to finagle our way out of it. But what if it had been worse? No, we're hanging on by a thread, and Laios's party could absolutely get stymied and killed down here, and it could have gone much worse. It didn't, but it could have. You found the red dragon, but what about her? And at this point, finally, Shuro collapses. He's been pushing himself. Please eat and get some sleep. Your body will break down. You're pushing yourself that hard. Look at how gaunt he is. You should have noticed. Hey, man, you gotta eat and sleep. It's, like, important, dude. I don't have time for that. I'm on the hustle. The grind set. The grind set, man. It's gonna push me through. Shuro, eating isn't something you do when you have time. It's not a luxury. It's not a luxury. It's only after having sleep and food that creatures can finally do what they want. We love to think of ourselves as bigger and better than creatures. You know, I'm not a creature, I'm a man. I'm a hero, a warrior. Warriors don't eat. Warriors don't need sleep. Sleep is for the weak. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Sleep is for the weak. Yeah, okay. Cool. You know what the other, like, classic quote about warriors is? An army marches on its stomach. Whatever rallying and battle cries and propagandistic bullshit you want, the biggest, best thing you can do is be well-fed and rested. Have your whole mental and physical capacities at your beck and call. But it's this phrase, and there are so many pieces of it that are important. Creatures, right? Creatures. Everybody. Monsters, humans, humanoids, elves, dwarves, we don't distinguish. It's all living things. They operate under this rule. And you're not a living thing. You're not bigger or better than that. You're still part of this. But it's something that we do, that humans do really often, is we hold ourselves above. We believe that we're not beholden to the same rules, right? We believe that we could live forever. We believe that we could live separated from society while we're social creatures, right? We believe that we could go without food, without water. We could deprive ourselves of important things. We hold ourselves on high. We hold ourselves up as though we're gods sometimes. And it's so strange because on the flip side, we treat ourselves as though we're machines sometimes that aren't like conscious, connected, living things, but are just mechanistic. As long as you put the food in and put the work out, the machine is running and everything will be fine. And that's not true either. There are all these other things that are needed. It's only after having sleep and food that creatures can finally do what they want. I really like this too, because the phrase do what they want makes a lot of sense for humans, but it makes less sense for creatures unless you take this perspective of it's almost Buddhist, almost of like sentient beings, right? They do what they want. What they want is what's compelled by their being, by however you want to read into it. It just like it sets up a really solid, if you reverse the logic of it, a really solid if then. Because of the if it's only when, it's only after. So doing what you want is contingent on getting food and sleep. If you want to do things, you have to eat and sleep. They're not a luxury. They're not something you do when you have time. If you only have a little bit of time, you use it to eat and sleep first, and then you use what time is remaining to do the thing. Which is like, well, impossible. I have to do the thing right now. I have to do it right now. But I'm reminded of some of the emerging evidence around productivity that says that like stuff like literally staring at a wall for a few minutes before turning your attention to a high productivity, like high output task increases your productivity of the task like dramatically, way more than the minutes that you spent staring at the wall. So there's lots of evidence on vacations for the same kind of thing, right? Like people who take reasonably spaced out vacations are much more productive during their actual work life than people who are like, no, grind set, hustle culture, no vacations, 80-hour work week, let's go. You actually get more done if you have other things to do also and don't beat yourself against the wall over and over. There are all sorts of holes in the hustle grind set culture idea that you just have to go looking for, and it all falls apart. And there's a breadth, right? There's a breadth of experience where there are people, human people, who are built such that they can't exist unless they're working continuously and doing stuff constantly, and that's just how they are. And good for them. Most people aren't like that, and those people still need to eat and sleep. And if they don't, they're going to shorten their productive span from maybe like 40 years to 30 years or 50 years to 40 years. They're going to shorten their span where their brain actually works that way dramatically over time. You burn it out. Ugh. It's not something so powerful. Not something you do when you have time. Only after having sleep and food can creatures do what they want. Have something to eat. And while you do, I'll tell you about stuff. And he finally turns to Maizuru and asks her to prepare something. She's been waiting for this. She's been wanting to feed him the whole time, right? Like, I love this. She is a protective mother figure to him, yeah? A meal! A meal! I wonder what Asebi puts in the food in the past. Or why she gets judged like this. I don't want anything strange mixed into the food. I don't know. That's weird. We sort of create some interactions between her and Senshi that I really like. I ship it. I ship it. I think I ship it. So, not safe. We immediately gather magic users and have them put up a barrier, which is pretty cool. We get characters interacting with each other. Let's work together, young lady. And Rena's like, not into it. And yeah, let's have a quick chat. I love this. I love this. Monster! Monster, cook the monster! Cook the monster! Shine. The lunatic magician is the one who created this dungeon, and we get a different graphic. A graphic built on impressions and ideas and understanding, right? Nobody who's ever seen him has ever returned. So how do you know that it was him? You don't. You fully don't. You fully don't. How exactly were you protected? How exactly did you get away? And why were you eating a brick? Finally, the reveal of the monster eating, and Kabru loves it. Kabru's intrigued, and he actually starts asking questions about it. We forge a space where these two can bond. I really like the visual graphic behind with the white circle on the yellow. It creates a shared space where these two connect. You know, they see each other clearly through this space a little bit. It's really cool. What's the tastiest thing you've eaten? Huh? 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 So we return our attention to the questions at hand. Cooperating with orcs? But we're supposed to be killing orcs. There are some conflicts still. And Laios is so unaware that they might be conflicts that he doesn't withhold anything except the black magic. Is it safe to tell Shuro? Probably, but not safe to tell him. Oh. A small appetite except for what you made him. I love how we work in her backstory into just this quick frame. I think it's really cool. The first time he's ever made a selfish request. There's also a lot of visual around her creating the onigiri, the rice balls, that I think is really cool. And I love the frame of everybody washing rice and just listening to the woman of the house, kind of like she's just gonna talk and we're just gonna listen. So why are you doing what you're doing? You have preserved food, so you don't need to cook. Why cook this way for him? And Senji realizes it. I know why he had an appetite. I know what you put into them. Kelp. It was seaweed. It's the secret sauce, right? No, it's love, right? Something about this I think is true, and it's weird, and it's actually one of the great mysteries of our world. I think it's true. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I think that a meal that's made by a human being who cares about the person they're making the meal for tastes different from the same meal created perfectly step by step in every single action by a humanoid robot. Every single thing that was done to the food is identical. I think that the food that was made by the person tastes better. And I'm saying this is like, I think there is physical material change made to the thing by the fact that the human being who's making it loves the person that they're making it for. I think it gets transferred into the food somehow. I have no explanation for how that might happen. We're in the realm of mysticism and like the inexplicable, right? Totally no justification for this, no reason to argue for it. It's just something that in my core heart of hearts, I believe that that's true. I think that there's something different. I don't have a mechanical way of explaining that difference, but I believe it. Yeah, wait, I don't understand why he's suddenly. I don't understand. Very strange. Nakamoto Faliro? I don't really get it. It's a gorgeous meal. So we rush in to find them fighting. Shiro's gonna kill him. I want to see the catch. Ah, so Spider-Man. So Spider-Man. Did he try something? What the fuck? We don't know. Oh, she knows. She's got the ears. This man used black magic to revive a woman using monster flesh. Actually, Marcel did it, but sure. Black! Do you even realize what you've done? Anyone involved, no matter their motives or degree of magic, is a serious criminal. Okay, according to who? According to what social organization on the outside that does that? I don't know. Does that mean Fallen? Probably. She's been made of black magic now. They're locked up in the dark until they die, and even their corpses never return. If the elves of the West find out, who knows what will happen to her? And this frame of Laios, he doesn't respond to this in this moment, but this frame is like, he knows. He knows at least some part of it, but what else was he gonna do? That's his sister. Like, Shuro, you love her, but that's his sister. So whatever regret is in Laios, it is overwhelmed by it was necessary. If word gets out, you won't tell anybody, right? It was the only way. Okay, black magic? This is such a cool reaction from Kabru. It's such a cool thing. This is way worse than I thought. Big smile. How horrifying! I can't believe it. So cool. What's gonna happen now? Can't separate that joy at watching a heroic and an interesting story unfold from the terror of it being wrong, you know? But that's wrong. It's like It's like how we react when we watch crazy action films with insane gore and violence and stuff. It's like, "Oh, this is so terrible. Let me watch more." And still in the castle city, she crawls, dragging her bulk behind her. I must find you. I must find you. I must find him. And she has become other. Black magic indeed. Whoa! What a cool episode of Dungeon Meshi. What a cool sprinkling of spices and flavors. What fun, like, main dishes all smashing into each other. A bunch of flavors that I didn't think would go together. Go so well together. I really like it. I really like it, especially coming off of our previous episode where things were pretty simple, back to basics with our party, back to eating and surviving. Now it's like back to the dungeon. Game board placed, pieces arranged, ready to go. All these different pieces in play and dynamics between them that are so interesting. What fun. What fun. Okay, I think we're going to wrap there. Thanks so much for watching this week's episode of Dungeon Meshi. I'll catch you next week for more. Catch it early on the Patreon linked in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you here on YouTube next week for the next one. Much love. Peace.